There we go. The recording has been started. And once again, hello and welcome everyone to the week 3 GoTo training session for TEM Online. How is everybody doing tonight? Hopefully you are all doing well. Good, good. I was looking at chat earlier today, or earlier today, earlier here. I saw some people were concerned about when their grades are going to be posted. All the instructors have until about Friday or so to get the grades in. So if you don't have them yet, don't panic. They should be up by the end of the week. As for how I'm doing, I'm perfectly fine. I was smart this time and actually had dinner before I started the session. So I'm doing okay right now. I've eaten. I'm perfectly okay. And I just found out, too, in a little bit of good news for the science fiction lovers in here, Altered Carbon Season 2 will be on Netflix on February 27th. I literally just found that out about an hour ago. So if you love science fiction and have not watched Altered Carbon season 1 yet, I highly recommend that you do so. Kind of think about going back and watching the first season myself. So I finally just finished up The Witcher, so now I can move on to something else again. Yes, Picard also premieres in 2 days. I need to make sure that make sure that I catch that as well. Yes, I do highly recommend that if you haven't seen it. Altered Carbon was pretty good. The book is really good too. So if you've not had a chance to read the book and you love to read, I would highly recommend that one as well. So glad to see that many of you are doing well. Um, no, I have not watched For All Mankind yet. I've heard that's been pretty good too. As for the Studio Ghibli stuff, I'm willing to bet they're going to make their way here eventually. At least I hope. So once again, everyone, welcome to week 3. Glad to see that so many of you are doing well. We are just over the halfway month already here for the class. Um, I know you guys are really early in your degree program. For many of you, this is only month 2, but I can tell you right now that time flies when you are a full sail student. Believe me. Uh, it won't be long until you find yourself halfway through your program, and it won't be long after that until you find yourself a graduation. Time does definitely fly here while you're a student. So just kind of going back over some of the week 1 assignments. Week 1 was the plan of attack. I hope that all of you are using that, and I hope that you continue to make them throughout your time here at Full Sail. I think that you're going to find they are really, really great for making sure that you can keep yourself on track. And then, of course, don't forget about the 1.2 industry websites, getting you guys in touch with your degree program as well as a couple of the others as well. And then the week 2 assignments. How did week 2 go for you guys? Do you guys like the week 2 assignments? I know they were a little bit more in depth. There was a lot more writing to these. Hopefully, you guys liked them well enough. Um, excuse me. I had a piece of dinner stuck in my tooth. Sorry about that. So we had the industry terms project. That one got you in touch with terms that are in your industry and as well as related industries, and that's going to be important. What's the old phrase? No one is an island. You're going to find that as you move further along into your degree, and especially when you graduate and go out into the workforce, you're going to find that pretty much all of these degrees interact with each other in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not at all times, but they do interact. Uh, a great example that I always use for my campus class is take AAA game titles. AAA game titles have almost every degree program that is represented here in this class on their team. So once again, you guys are going to be interacting a lot with the other degree programs. And then industry growth. Where's the future going for your degree program, and how are you going to fit into that? I saw some good ones. I did go through mine. I was able to get my stuff graded. Uh, so I was able to go through and see what some of you guys came up with. You guys had some wild ones in there. The holodeck one was it's still always my favorite. Comes up all the time, but it's still one of my favorite ones. I don't think we're quite at holodecks yet, but hopefully we will get there someday. So that's what we have done so far for TEM. So this week we're going to be working on your networking plan and working on a mission statement with action goals. We're kind of putting everything together. For the networking plan, you're going to be expected to think about ways how you're going to network with people, not just your fellow peers, but also people in your industry as well. And then your mission statement is kind of like making goals for yourself while you're here as a student. So once again, just kind of putting these assignments into context for you guys. We kind of go through this every week. The goal is to educate, obviously, practicing self-iteration, awareness, learning to be successful in the virtual world and all the challenges that it provides. Skill building, having attention to detail, making sure that you're meeting the criteria to complete all the projects, meeting the deadlines, communication, self-discovery, and reporting. And then career building, networking and collaboration, building trust, making sure your deliverables look good. If I can go back to the second thing on here under skill building, one of the things, and I know I said this in week 2, but I want to say it again because it is so very important, is communication. Uh, as a student at Full Sail, whether you're on campus or online, I tell both the same thing. The two biggest things that you can have to help make sure that you get through Full Sail is time management and communication. If you can master those two, you are well on your way to getting through your programs. Especially with the communication. Communication in an online setting is a little bit different. However, it is going to be important that you communicate with your instructors. If you ever have any issues with any of the projects, always make sure that you reach out to them as soon as possible. If you have any issues making deadlines, reach out to them as well. Communication is so very, very important while you're here at Full Sail. Kenneth, we're going to kind of go over ways to connect with people in your industry today. So hold on to that thought. So, your networking plan. So this week for your networking plan, it's going to be pretty much kind of the same way that your project from last week was, the future of your industries project. It is going to be a discussion post again that's going to require you to communicate with your peers. Uh, at least communicate in the sense that you have to do peer responses to them. So, what you want to do is think about creating a professional networking account in whatever social media platform that you choose. You do not necessarily have to actually create it, but you will definitely want to put down what social networking sites that you would want to use. This would be one this social networking account would be one that you would use for people in your industries. It would be a professional one. For many of you, this could be separate from your personal one. Happens quite a bit. I actually don't keep mine separate, but I don't post a lot on social media myself. But I know plenty of former students, as well as a number of coworkers that actually have personal Facebook accounts and then professional ones as well. So you want to think about what kind of social networking you're going to have. If you do have some sort of social networking accounts already that you want to use, that's perfectly fine. However, you may want to scour through them just in case there's anything on there that you might not, I know it sounds bad to say, but anything you might not want an employer to see. These things happen all the time, especially in today's world. Um, so you want to make sure that you don't have anything on there or that you have all your privacy settings set correctly. Um, it is a question that HR recruiters do ask themselves when they're doing the hiring process. Justin, you have a question, and I've just unmuted you, but you have yourself muted, I think. What's the differences between professional and personal? Professional ones is simply used for professional communication. Maybe you just use that one to connect with people in your industries. You could be used just for work purposes and whatnot. Whereas a personal one is meant more for your family and your close friends. No, you do not actually need to create a social media account, but you do want to consider which one you would have. So you do need to think about that at some point, because at some point you are going to have a social media account. And Jasmine's got a question. Jasmine, go ahead, and you have yourself muted too, so you can either unmute yourself or just type it in the box.
Hi.
Instagram.
So I was wondering if this would be a page solely for people to reach out to us professionally, um, or yeah, that's my question.
Both, for them to reach out to you and for you to reach out to them. So it would be both.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Let me just mute that again. There we go. All right. So you will be looking people up in your industry side. I'm going to get to that in just a second. And yes, Instagram could count. A very common one to use is LinkedIn. That is a very, very common social media platform for professionals. That would actually be considered my, I guess, and I know I said I don't really post much, but that would be considered my professional one as well, because I actually myself have a LinkedIn account. So it's something that you would want to use. ArtStation, yes, absolutely. If you were in game art, game design, or not, I'm sorry, just game art or computer animation, and I would throw graphic design in there as well. ArtStation, definitely, because that's a place where you can post your portfolio. Chris, it's for the future. You don't actually need to create it right now. And Twitter and Instagram both work as well. So once you've decided one that you would use, like I said, you do not actually need to create it. Game design, IGDA.org, International Game Developers Association. Yes, it could be general, or if you can find those that are part of your field, and usually most fields have some, that would be great as well. For programmers, another good one is Stack Overflow. That's a great one as well. So for this project, once you've decided what social media you would use, you then want to start uh, for which one? The Stack Overflow or IGDA? Well, I think IGDA is just igda.org. Yeah, I think it's just igda.org. Gama Sutra is another one. So those are a couple for games as well. So so we can use that and another social media account. Yes, absolutely. You can use more than one social media account. Absolutely. So when you're doing your write-up, you want to first think about what social media networking sites you could use. You also want to think about what is AWN. I have to look. I want to say that it is Kimberly. I think it would be AWN. I think would count. So another thing that you want to start thinking about is what professional organizations do you plan on joining? Essentially, a professional organization, what is that? It's a group of people that are already professionals in the industry, or it may not even be professional. It could be local clubs. It could be something very small near you. It could be something worldwide. The IGD, once again, IGDA, for example, is a great one to join if you're in any of the game fields or have any interest at all in games. Think about what professional organizations you would want to join and why. Then you want to think about, yeah, I think that would work. I'm not very familiar with that one, Eric. I believe GitHub might work as well. No, this one is not working about with a specific company. Not you're not thinking about working with Blizzard or anything like that. It's all about networking on more of a larger scale. So the next part of it that you want to write about, where do you plan on making professional contacts? Uh, how do you do that? And when in an online environment, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Uh, I know, like if you're in a larger city, there's I believe it's Meetup.com that you can meet people face to face. I know, like Orlando, for example, has one. I've used it a couple times myself with all sorts of people in the just various different industries. What kind of online places could you meet up? There are a lot of groups that meet online, discuss whatever it is that they are working on at the moment. There's a lot of different ways that you can meet people both face to face and online, no matter where you're at, whether you're in a large city or whether you're out in the country. We've had a number of students use both, and some of them quite successfully. So think about where do you plan on making these professional contacts? Next, you want to think about what conferences you would like to attend. Now, once again, this is the keyword there is our keywords there are like to attend. We understand that probably cannot do a conference right now this very minute, but take a look at some of the organizations and what conferences they have. E3 is a big one. We just had one here in November called ITSEC. It was a great one for programming and virtual reality and whatnot. Think about the different conferences. Do some research. Check in your industries what conferences are being held, whether they're big or they're small. What are some of these events that you could attend, and why would you want to attend them? And then you want to pick 3 items that you could start doing right now to help kind of kickstart your networking plan. Uh, Once again, you don't necessarily have to do it, but just 3 things that you could start doing right now to help you out with the networking. Could be a lot of different things. Some of the examples that we have here, if you know an industry professional, and we do have some students that do, could you interview them? Could they give you some advice? Can you join a local or professional organization? Especially the organizations are great, especially if they're local like that, because a lot of the people that are involved in these organizations already have contacts in the industry. If you're lucky enough, if you know somebody, you could be mentored by somebody working in the professional. We've had a few students able to actually do that. Following people that are in your industry on social media. A good example of that is once again, if you're in games, Todd Howard is a big one. Hopefully some of you know Todd Howard. Hopefully, I'm sorry, I'm a big Elder Scrolls junkie. I know I said that last week. Internships are great. Like if you can get an internship, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. If you have a business partner that's been in the industry for 10 years, absolutely, that's a great way to get mentored. And being in the industry that long as well, they will have quite a bit of information that they'd probably be willing to share with you as well. You could volunteer at conferences as well if you find yourself in a large city. Um, I know. Oh man, I'm going to kick myself for this one. Oh, GDC. I almost forgot it. We've had students and staff at Full Sail actually volunteer to GDC, which is the Game Developers Conference. Usually, we have a group that goes every year. And while they have to have their place to stay and whatnot, if you volunteer at a lot of these conferences, you can get in for free, and you have free time to actually browse the vendors and talk to people. If you can't attend the conferences, there's a number of online ones that happen, so you might be able to look into that. Uh, sometimes, uh, Sometimes even the big conferences offer ways for people to log in and view it remotely and actually interact with people that are viewing it as well. So you could look into something like that. So once you have all of that information, would you count watching a live stream as attendance? Yes and no, because you're still there, you're still getting the information. The only part that you're missing would, if you can't actually interact with anyone, then you're just viewing it. So you're getting good information, but you're not really able to speak to anyone. And that's what part of this is actually networking, getting to know people in your industry. Is it necessary to have business cards at these conferences? No, but it helps. It does help. If you do have them, great. If you don't worry about it. The upside of that is that if you do want business cards, they are pretty inexpensive these days. Like you can get like a box of 500 for like 20 bucks or something. Don't quote me on that. I might be a little off there, but they're pretty inexpensive to get business cards. So once you have all of that information together, you want to post it to the discussion board. And this should altogether be about 3 to 4 paragraphs. And much like last week's discussion, this week's discussion, the first part for the most points possible, is going to be due by Thursday. Thursday at midnight. Thursday at midnight Eastern Standard Time. I realize some of you are in different time zones. So you want to have the first part done by Thursday. And then the last part of it, much like last week, make sure that you reply to at least 4 of your classmates, and each reply should be a paragraph long. I know that going through my classes, there were a number of people that were only posting like 1 sentence responses. You're going to lose some points for that. You want to make sure that all of your responses are at least a paragraph long. Is it okay to have 5 paragraphs? Absolutely. You can always give more. Madison, you can always give more. Now, once again, this comes directly from the instructions. So we have a number of different networking options by degree program. So you should be able to find some in there. This is by no means a complete list. So it's a good way to help get you started. There is a lot more out there than what we have on here, but these are some of the bigger ones. There's a number of smaller conferences that happen around the United States, really around the world, actually. Um, so if you want to add to this list, by all means do so. If you just want to stick to this one, that's fine. But this will be a good start for you guys. And like I said, this list is in the instructions as well for you guys to take a look at. So just as an example, is there a qualifying factor to add to the list? No. Just make sure, really, if you want it to add to the list, just make sure it's related to your degree program. That's really all we'll ask. So I guess there is a qualifying factor in that regards. You want to keep it to your degree program, or at the very least, something that's strongly connected to it. For example, if you were a strong connection, if you were in mobile development and you wanted to get into mobile gaming, mobile game programming, then obviously something like the GDC, E3, they would count because, love it or hate it, mobile gaming is a huge part of the gaming industry. So that would be considered a strong connection. So we have a bit of an example in here. The example is just for the length. That's about the length of the post that we're looking for. 3 or 4 good solid paragraphs for your initial post, and then good response posts to the 4 replies that you have to do. Once again, it is a discussion post. If you do it in Word or save it out as a PDF, that's fine. You just have to make sure that you upload it, or you can actually post it into the discussion board itself. Either way is perfectly fine. And to just kind of go over the rubric with you guys, going through the exceptional column, if you want the most points possible, you'll have it in by Thursday. The initial post in by Thursday. No spelling or grammar errors. You'll have 4 or more paragraphs. Actually, it should be like 3 or 4 good solid paragraphs, complete with the networking structure with examples, what your goals are, answering all the questions, and then picking the 3 things that you can do right now. One sec, Matthew. And then lastly, you'll have the 4 replies of at least 5 sentences each. Matthew, you're in IT with the Society of Telecommunication Engineers (SCTE) work. Um, I don't know because I'm not actually familiar with that one. Offhand, I would say probably yes. I mean, most communication now is through online means, so I don't see why it wouldn't. But I would have to take a closer look at it. If you do have any questions on whether a site would work or not, email them directly to your instructor, and they should be able to take a quick look at it and let you know. Are there any questions on 3.0? Okay, there we go. My networking is more geared towards my business and the business I have to provide service for. All right, that's good. Just make sure that you want. If your business is a bit different from your degree program, you do want to base this more on your degree program. Now, if your business lines up with what your degree program is, then by all means, that's two birds with one stone. So that would work as well too. All right, so your other project for the week. For the URL is a professional artist networking profile. Um, if they have, most artists do, but let's say if you found a professional artist and they have their ArtStation page or something like that, their ArtStation page would be perfectly fine as well. For the artist, essentially, it's wherever they're posting their portfolio or the bulk of their work for the public to see. Whether it happens to be a personal website that they have or they're using ArtStation exclusively, really, it just kind of depends on what they're using. Okay, so on to your action statement. So we would like you to first, this one is a little bit different. This one you're going to be thinking about some goals that you want to accomplish while you're here at Full Sail and some specific actions that you can undertake to make sure that you can meet those goals. It's not really an example of someone else's professional site, it's just a way to connect with them. So, for the action statement, first off, you want to find the Venture Guide SMART goals. You can look that up on YouTube, and the link should be in here as well. You want to take a look at the values list that we've provided for this project. And then you want to write a good, solid paragraph talking about what a specific goal is for you and some actions and values that you will undertake to support this goal. Now we have, so this is basically just, yes, a future goal for you in the future. We would like to see this goal somehow tied in with your time here at Full Sail or something that is career related for you. We are not necessarily looking for, I want to become the best Overwatch player. That's not exactly what we're looking for. So we'd really like to see this one tied in a bit more with what your degree is going to be and what you're going into in your industries. So we have an example here in the. Oh, that's right. Overwatch 2 got announced, didn't it? Am I wrong on that? I can't remember. I thought somebody said that. Oh, it did it. I don't play a lot of first-person shooters. I'm old and slow, so I still do them every now and then, but not too often. And I'm never very good. But I am honest with myself, so I got that going for me. Yeah. Not really into Overwatch, but I was pretty excited to see the Diablo 4 trailer. I've loved every one of the Diablo games I've played. 3 had a rough start when it first came out, but got a lot better over time. So the example that we have in here, I'll read it off for you guys. This was an example that was actually done by a student. They said their mission is to graduate the game art degree with a program with a 3.5 GPA or better. They will accomplish this by living each day with determination and adaptability. Determination will push me to attend all lectures and labs, complete all assignments on time, and join or create student study groups to assist with my understanding and comprehension of the course content tools. My adaptability will be shown by my willingness to try new things, everything from new foods to meeting new people, and by reaction to failure. I will examine my mistakes and learn from them. It is through this determination and adaptability that I will succeed in my program, providing me with the foundation needed to succeed in my industry. Now, going back through that, this project has pretty much everything. They have what they want to do. Their goal is to graduate with a 3.5 GPA or better in game art. They have some values, determination and adaptability, and then they have some specific actions they're going to take, such as creating student study groups, willingness to meet people, examining mistakes and whatnot. So that is what you are going to be doing for your action statement project. It's a goal that will hopefully be related to your time here at Full Sail or your degree, and just something that you want to accomplish. So just going over the project, make sure that you view the SMART Goals video. The mission or goal that you have is time sensitive. It should be something that you can hope to accomplish within 12 to 24 months. So, like I said, you want to make sure this is something that's the near future. You also want to make sure that it is something that is that can be measured. For example, saying that you want to graduate with a 3.5 GPA is, yes, that's something that you can measure. That's something that's easy. Did you do this or not? Um, we're not looking for anything really nebulous on this one. We don't want to see things. I want to change the world with my art or anything like that. That's not exactly what we're looking for. So you've viewed the SMART goals. You determine what your mission goal is going to be, and you write that out. And that should only be about a sentence or two right there, just for the goal itself. Then you're going to determine 3 or more values you believe support your mission. You're going to determine 3 or more actions that you can undertake to make sure that this goal happens. And then once you have all of that information down, you actually want to write it out. And when you have all that completed, you will want to submit it to FSO. Now, for this week's project, it does not require you to have any customization on it for this one. However, you still must upload it as a PDF. I'm still getting submissions that are done in Word. If you do not know how to change a file from Word or Pages into PDF, please let your instructor know, and they'll give you a hand with that. Oh, I see some people in chat that are. Did I see some people in chat that are dreading discrete math? I saw some people saying that they were not looking forward to that class. It's really not that bad. I've actually gone through it myself. It's not math like you think. Just to let you guys know. It's call it math without numbers. It's logic-based math. Now statistics, that's all numbers. Although to be fair, I like statistics too. So in this project, we also have a values list supplied for you. You only need to choose 3 of them. The list has about 250, I think. There is a lot out there, and you are more than welcome to go outside of this list as well. There's some common ones that usually show up, but I think once you look over it, you'll probably be able to identify 3 values that you can use for this project. And once again, just kind of breaking down the example that we give you guys in this is actually in the instructions as well. The goal is to graduate with a 3.5 GPA or better in game art. Their values are determination and excuse me, can't talk. Determination and adaptability, but you will want to have 3 if you want to get the most points possible. There are measurable action goals assigned to it are attend all labs, lectures and labs, complete all assignments or time, and join and create study groups. And other specific measurable action goals are willingness to try new things and reaction to failure. I just want to point out, like I said, this example is provided for you in the instructions. However, please make sure that you do not, I know it sounds bad to say this, but do not copy this, so to speak. I don't have any other way to say it. You will want to come up with your own things as well. Now, if your goal is to graduate your degree program with a 3.5 GPA or better, that's perfectly fine. That's a great and very common goal to have. Nothing wrong with that. However, you will definitely not want to be using determination and adaptability and essentially doing almost the same thing. You'll want to make sure that you change it up enough if your goal is very similar to the example that we've given you. Now, just to make sure, going over the rubric here, that you guys got everything. If you want the most points possible, this project is due on Sunday, and you'll have it sent in the PDF format. Your opening sentence clearly identifies what your goal is. You have 3 or more specific stated values, and the values are easily identifiable and directly related to the mission or the goal. If you would like to make your instructor's life a little bit easier, you can feel free to bold the values if you want. We are perfectly okay with that. It does make things a little bit easier. You'll have 3 or more specific, clearly stated SMART goals that support the mission. And then lastly, you will have no spelling or grammar errors. So hold on to that question, Kenneth. We'll get you at the end here. So that is what you will want to accomplish if you want to go for the best score that you possibly can. One thing that I want to point out to all of you as well, this should be in paragraph form. Do not submit it as a list or anything like that. You will want to keep it as a paragraph. Make it as difficult as possible. Put it in bold, cursive, underlined it, strike through, make it flash different colors. We'll see it. I don't recommend that. We have actually, oddly enough, we have actually had students do this project as a slideshow, and they just export these. It's one slide, and they export the slide out as a PDF. So that actually has been done before. It happens more often than you might think. It just kind of depends on what program you're used to working with. Yeah, the customization isn't required on this project, but you're more than welcome to add some. If you want to add pictures or a little splash to it, you're more than welcome to do so. That is correct, Jasmine, although it's actually more of a year to 2 years. So 12 to 24 months, so a year to 2 years. And then thinking about ways you can accomplish that. Yeah, it's not, yeah, Carlos, it's not really a slideshow when it's just one slide, but you can do that. I've had students do that before. They just do it as or do it in PowerPoint as one slide, and then they export the slideshow out as a PDF. So essentially, it's just like exporting out a PDF from Word. Are there any other questions on the 3.1 project? All right, going back up to, I had one question that got missed here. Let's see. What if you don't know anybody? Going back to the 3.0 project, what if you don't know anybody? Well, remember, that's what part of this project is about. It's actually getting to know people in your industries. So if you don't know anybody, you want to think about ways how to find out where people in your industry are and what you can do to connect with them. Once again, given the example of games, the IGDA is a great way to connect people that are in the gaming industry, both on a professional or hobbyist level. Um, so there are a number of ways to do that. Go ahead. What's your question? It is open for questions now, so if anybody's got any, please feel free to ask. Question of the 3.0 project, we have to include at least one professional social media link. Do we just provide a random one? Well, you want to provide one that exists. So for if you want to, if you have one already, you can use that one. If you don't have one, but let's say you wanted to use LinkedIn, you can just give LinkedIn.com. But it has to be one that you would want to either you are using or you would want to use in the future. Now, if you already do have a professional site, I would encourage you to share it for that particular project because you're going to be connecting with people. And if you share it, you're connecting with people in your class and therefore other people that are going into your industry. So the discussion boards themselves are a great way to connect with people. And yes, ArtStation can absolutely be used as one, Catherine. DeviantArt would work as well. LinkedIn is probably better. LinkedIn is kind of, once again, kind of the de facto general standard, if that makes sense. Most people have a LinkedIn account, and then they have other ones that are more specific towards their industries, such as having a LinkedIn account and having an ArtStation account. Oh, yeah, if you don't have one and you want to make one for this project, by all means, please do so. LinkedIn's for everybody, Kimberly. Pretty much any degree, and by any degree, I mean literally pretty much any degree. It's Facebook for professionals. Whether you are in the tech fields, the art fields, construction worker, whatever it might be, a business professional, LinkedIn is kind of the de facto general standard for having a professional social media site. And then there are other ones. Yeah, military vets do use it heavily. And then other ones can be more specific. Like once again, give you the example, LinkedIn is a general one, and then if you're in computer animation or in game art, having an ArtStation account. Did I miss something there? Trying to scroll back up, but it won't let me. I don't think there it is. I see it now. Sorry, there was so much going by at one time. No, I don't. They don't necessarily have to be traditional goals. As long as it's something that you can accomplish, and if it's for your business, that's perfectly fine. Yep. Any other questions? All right, I am going to stop the recording, but I will be hanging out for a little bit longer.